Now at 9, residents in Parsons participate in a fun run to raise awareness about gun violence. Plus, Lincoln Park in Pittsburgh plays host to bands from all over for the Halfway Home Music and Arts Festival. And
strong job numbers from the Labor Department indicate steady economic growth, but most Americans say they're still struggling financially. I'm Connor Hansen in New York. I've got the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Forest Park in Parsons was filled with a sea of orange this morning, with community members coming together for Wear Orange Weekend. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Anthony Saviello. The orange represents the color hunters wear to not be shot, and the Wear Orange Weekend is about raising awareness for gun violence in the United States. KOAM Samantha Walker has more.
Dozens of t-shirts are strung up across Forest Park and Parsons, representing a voice that can no longer be heard.
It's a visual symbol because every day 120 people die from firearms and another 200 are injured. So we wanted to make a visual to imagine these are all people who die every day from firearms.
The shirts are part of an event organized by the Parsons chapter of the Mothers Demand Action Group, an organization advocating for gun safety and common sense gun law. The group joined hundreds of chapters across the country in holding an event to raise awareness on gun violence in the United States, particularly the rates in which children are affected.
We don't want your child to become a statistic. Every year 355 children accidentally shoot themselves or others. So that's something we can prevent.
Numerous community organizations are involved in the annual fun run, helping to provide information and resources on common sense gun safety and practices. Local law enforcement agencies are also present, giving out free gun locks, hoping to limit access to firearms for children and others.
When you have to pick up a gun and open up the lock, you have to actually think about what you're doing, and it gives you a moment to stop and think about those types of things.
Many attendees and volunteers at the event have a personal connection to someone impacted by gun violence. For many parents at the fun run, the thought of children being at risk hits close to home.
When I was in school, the drills that we had were fire drills, tornado drills. But my children went to school with active shooter drills their whole time, and that's not right. In America, our children shouldn't be killed by guns. This is the #1 killer. It should be some other accident, something that we can't control, not gun violence.
For organizers and volunteers, they say the event will be a success if even one person goes home to be a little bit safer.
We're not trying to take anyone's guns away. I grew up, my dad was an avid hunter, my husband's a hunter. That stuff, that's not what we're about. But just keeping them locked up, keeping them safe. It's about protecting people and just helping people with resources to make good decisions about their guns.
Reporting in Parsons, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The event held a fundraising drive for Safe House Crisis Center, an organization that assists people experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Organizers say individuals going through those types of crisis are more likely to be impacted by gun violence. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, right now we got a nice little sunset, temperatures in the mid-80s and a light breeze out of the south. Most of our counties, 87 in Miami, 88 in Oswego, 85 in Welch. We're in the mid to lower 80s now, Stockton 82, but we are getting some storms starting to push in, and it's a cold front moving through as well. That's going to be pushing through in the next couple of hours. We've got a level 2 out of 5 risk for our area. Not to mention we've already had a few storms pass by. Most of them have had a severe thunderstorm warning already issued with it. And we are also in a severe thunderstorm watch for our counties in Missouri and along the Kansas-Missouri border as well. That is in effect until 1 a.m. today. And we've got a few more storms coming in the next couple of hours, so stay weather aware, and I'll have more details in just a bit.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. A 2-vehicle crash on Rangeline sends 2 people to the hospital. The crash occurred about 3 o'clock at 17th and South Rangeline. Numerous witnesses tell us the driver of the SUV was ejected on impact. The car involved went over curbs and through landscaping, coming to a stop in the U.S. Cellular parking lot on the northwest corner. Joplin police say they transported 2 to the hospital who had suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities are still investigating what happened. The city of Altamont held its annual Flag Day celebration. The all-day celebration included some usual staples such as the turtle races and a water balloon toss, as well as some new events like a quilt show. Events also included an esports tournament. A $500 medallion hunt was also held during the week leading up to the event. Citizens in Pittsburgh had the opportunity to enjoy live music in Lincoln Park today at the Halfway Home Music and Arts Festival. Attendees could enjoy music from 7 bands across 6 genres, including hard rock, country, Americana, and more. Proceeds from today's event go to revitalizing the J.J. Richards Band Shell.
A great time. I guess that would be the thing you would want for every concert. I want them to be aware that we started with just multi-genres too. I didn't want this to be a country festival. I didn't want it to be a red dirt festival. My preference is metal. It isn't a metal fest. We have all genres of music, and I wanted to touch everyone that's willing to come out and sit in the park and listen to music all day.
Future festivals are planned for Fort Scott and Parsons. It is a story of survival. A Missouri man was forced to jump for his life to avoid an SUV. He fell 22 feet from a bridge and waited 13 hours for help. Justina Coronel has the story.
It's like every movie you've ever seen. I went like this to grab the thing.
Jeremiah Koch recovers and recalls where he was a week ago, biking on a bridge near Herman on Highway 19.
I went into town for a bite and came back. And then I had spent the rest of my birthday on the ground.
May 29th is a day that tested him. A driver approached him as he biked by.
He's getting closer and closer. I move a little bit to the side. He's matching me, these types of things. So it was very obvious this guy was out to, kill or hurt or harm somebody.
The pressure squeezed Koch, forcing him into a decision to get hit or jump off. And it was a leap of faith for the martial arts instructor.
In martial arts, they teach you how to fall correctly, and that's pretty much all I've ever done. And I can attribute that Hapkido brake falls have saved my life.
He dropped feet below.
They say it's 22 feet, but it felt like an eternity.
And then he waited 13 hours for help.
I was yelling for help, whatever. But I'm under Highway 19, underneath a bridge. Nobody's going to hear you.
He broke multiple bones, including his back. Despite hearing coyotes and working with limited food and water, Koch was committed.
The mental fortitude, the emotional stability, don't panic, stay calm. What's the next thing? Survivability.
It's a lesson he's used to teaching, and it became a practice he used himself. After hours under the bridge, he made a move to be visible.
I set small goals, 3 feet at a time. It paid off. That last push paid off. If I would have stayed underneath the bridge, I would be done. There ain't no way.
2 pedestrians walked by.
And I just light up, man. I mean, it's just everything I had. Just screaming. And the guy, I'll never forget, he just pokes his head over the side and he goes, "Hey, man, need some help?" I'm like, yes, I do.
While nothing prepares you for this moment, his practice became a protector. Patience and perspective is the foundation to his lessons, and now the foundation for his fight.
You have to stay calm and you have to chunk through your problem in order to survive.
Coming up, the FDA expands its approval for an RSV vaccine. New numbers showed some improvements in the economy, but most Americans say they're still not feeling it. Both presidential campaigns are weighing in as inflation is expected to be a key issue in November. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story.
Fox News polling finds about 70% of Americans view the economy poorly. It comes as many are still struggling with high prices and inflation. According to Fox Business calculations, grocery prices are up more than 21% since the start of 2021, and energy costs are up more than 38%.
We had the best economy, best job numbers, best everything during my presidency.
Former President Donald Trump is seizing on the sour economic sentiment, blaming President Biden. Fox polls show more voters trust Trump to improve the economy, but the Biden administration is touting more positive metrics like wage and job growth.
Prices are still too high for lots of households who are definitely struggling with those prices. But in terms of their buying power, particularly when it comes to groceries, gas. Progress is being made in the right direction, and we just have to stay on this track.
A new jobs report showed progress, with the U.S. adding 272,000 jobs in May, and unemployment ticked up slightly to 4%, but has remained low for months.
This is an economy that is doing well. We have defied all expectations in terms of the job growth. We haven't yet talked about the unemployment rate. Again, still at or below 4% for 30 months running now. So that's the longest stretch since the 1960s.
President Biden is continuing to call on large companies with high profits to lower their prices, accusing them of so-called greedflation. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
The Food and Drug Administration warns the public of microdosing chocolate bars that have left several sick. The agency issued an alert on Friday about Diamond Shrooms brand microdosing chocolate bars. The bars include mushrooms that have left 8 people sick in Arizona, Nevada, Indiana, and Pennsylvania. The FDA says that reported symptoms include seizures and loss of consciousness. According to the brand's website, the edibles are made with soy, milk, and its proprietary blend of nootropic and functional mushrooms. There have been no deaths reported at this time, and this currently is an ongoing investigation. The Food and Drug Administration also expands approval for pharmaceutical company GSK's RSV vaccine. The department expanded approval for the GSK RSV vaccine to extend to adults down to 50 years old who are at high risk of severe RSV or respiratory syncytial virus. The pharmaceutical company previously asked the FDA to expand approval beyond adults 60 and older back in February. The next step for the vaccine is to have the recommendation approved by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices before it can be administered to adults between 50 and 59 years old. Local officials in New York file lawsuit against Bark Air. The lawsuit against the airline, geared solely towards dogs, claims that the company violates airport usage restrictions in Westchester County. Officials allege that the airline is operating out of the private jet area, going against the county law. Bark Air uses a Gulfstream Aerospace GV jet, which holds 14 seats. Westchester County officials are seeking an injunction against the airline in order to prohibit it from operating in the private jet area. Lindsay is next with a complete look at the forecast and later. One climate expert is claiming higher temperatures are the new norm.
Well, we do have severe weather going on tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look outside at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Oh, we got a little bug out there. We do have a few clouds moving in, and storms are starting to make their way through our area. We already had a few supercells already pass by, and now moving towards Springfield, they have had a severe thunderstorm warning on a few of those, and all of this orange, so all the counties in Missouri and across Kansas-Missouri border, we are in a severe thunderstorm watch until about 1 a.m. So as you can see, most of these supercells are going to fire up. We're getting hail up to $half size and 60 miles per hour wind gusts. So these are going to be some pretty strong storms as they move through. But what we're expecting really to hit our area is this line of storms over here. Does have a tornado warning on it already. They've had a couple, but as it moves into our area, really not expecting any tornado threat. There is always a low chance that we could get it with severe weather, so stay weather aware. But our main threats, we're expecting flash flooding, hail up to $half size, and 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, as we can see, we've got those elevated risk for today. Yesterday it was a low risk. Today it's increased to an elevated risk. Those storms continue tomorrow, but we're more in a low risk tomorrow. And then we do still have a chance of storms Monday night into Tuesday, but after this, we're really starting to drop down on severe weather. So we've got a low risk for tornadoes, so it's always still possible. These are individual supercells, so if they do spin up a tornado, we can still expect one in the area. But Like I said, main threats, elevated wind and an elevated hail threat. Up to $half size hail, 60 miles per hour wind gusts. So these are going to be pretty strong storms. Starting to really make their way in after about 1 a.m. So we can see 2 a.m. we've got that 60% chance, and that stays 60% until about 10 a.m. So these storms are going to be sticking through our area for quite a while, all through the overnight hours and into early Sunday morning. They do start to drop off as we get into the afternoon hours. Around 4 p.m. is when we really start to clear out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the future track. So this is tonight. We've got those storms already passing by, and we've got that cold front moving through, and you can start to see these storms are developing. They start to shift up a little north, and then around 1 a.m. developing just north of our county. Isn't anybody getting a storm, but the rest of us are staying pretty clear until it gets a little bit closer into the overnight hours, 2:30, 3 a.m. You can start to see the line of storms shift south along with that cold front, and as that happens, we see 1 or 2 really large supercells. You can see it right there moving through the Pittsburgh area. So it's about 5 a.m. and that's going to continue through the area and does start to dissipate as it moves through our area. So that's a good thing. We're looking for that. We're hoping with some of the supercells that have already passed, the environment gets a little overworked. So we don't expect as strong or severe threat with any of these storms, but we may still see some severe thunderstorm warnings, hail, strong wind gusts, and that'll continue until the early morning hours on Sunday. After that, temperatures drop down to the mid-70s. We do have a chance of rain again on Tuesday and Saturday, but we're really looking to be out of severe weather season after this event. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Me too. No more rain. Sick of it.
We'll still get rain, just not severe.
No more severe rain.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. A climate expert warns that the continued rise of global temperatures will become the new norm. Andrew Dessler, professor of atmospheric science at Texas A&M University, says humans will have to get used to a permanent hot climate as new record-breaking temperatures are recorded every year. Dessler is among climate groups like the European Union's Copernicus and the World Meteorological Association watching and measuring climate change. Dessler says the Earth is a body with a rising fever, making it sicker and sicker. Coming up, the Angry Birds movie is getting a third one, and Dolly is getting her own musical. We'll have the details. A popular horror franchise gets turned into a haunted house, and a country music legend will bring her life story to Broadway. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has those stories and more in the Hollywood Nation.
A Quiet Place comes to life, The Angry Birds return, and Dolly's story on stage in the Hollywood Nation. Dolly Parton will share her life story on Broadway. The country music legend is developing a biomusical called Hello, I'm Dolly, chronicling her life and career. The score will feature new songs as well as her biggest hits. The show opens in 2026.
Hey, it's me, Red.
The Angry Birds are coming back for another adventure. According to Deadline, a third movie is in the works with Jason Sudeikis and Josh Gad reprising their voice roles as Red and Chuck. The first two films earned more than $500 million worldwide. The Lion King roars back to the big screen. Disney announced the 1994 animated classic will be re-released in theaters in celebration of its 30th anniversary starting July 12th. Mufasa, the Lion King, the live-action prequel to the 2019 remake, arrives in theaters December 20th. Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando Resort are taking fans into A Quiet Place. Both parks will debut new haunted houses based on the horror franchise during this year's Halloween Horror Nights. Fans can journey through the post-apocalyptic world, which will feature unique special effects and scare actors. The immersive attractions will also feature American Sign Language, which plays a major role in the films. The scares kick off at the Orlando Resort August 30th and September 5th at the Hollywood Park. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A Scottish woman who claims to be the real-life Martha from the hit Netflix show Baby Reindeer is suing the streaming giant for defamation. Fiona Harvey filed the lawsuit in a California court Thursday. Harvey is seeking at least $170 million in damages. She is accusing Netflix of negligence, emotional distress, and violating her right of publicity. She says the streaming giant failed to fact-check the claims made in the show. The show intentionally did not name Harvey, but she claims that Netflix made it possible for internet sleuths to find her easily. Up next, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss are back on tour. We'll have the details. A concert tour from Robert Plant and Alison Krauss is among this weekend's music news, which Rick Damigella has for us in this Hollywood Minute.
Grammy-winning duo Robert Plant and Alison Krauss have just kicked off their summer concert tour. Plant singles out one of their songs as a favorite to perform live.
Please read the letter I like, because it's got a sort of beautiful lilt, some nice sustained vocal lines, and some beautiful fiddle from Alison, and it's got great mood to it, and it shakes as well.
Classic rockers Molly Hatchet are also on the concert trail, with dates in the month of June in Texas, Ohio, and New Jersey.
Walking around you, I wanna surround you, but I can't get close enough.
Crowded House are touring the UK in June, with dates set to bring their Gravity Stairs tour to the US in August and September.
We're doing some lovely venues, and given that it's still late summer, we'll be able to play outdoors in a number of places, so we're really enjoying the prospect of that. The band will be super hot by then. We'll have done quite a few shows. And all the new songs sort of integrated themselves into the set.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, 4 Israel hostages make it back to their families.
4 Israeli hostages safely out of Gaza after Israel's largest rescue operation since the war began. I'm Stephanie Bennett in London. All the details coming up.
Since 2022, Mercy and Mayo Clinic have partnered to help improve patient care. Chris Bryant spoke with Mercy about the way the partnership will improve healthcare not only in Springfield but across the country.
It's a 10-year collaboration between Mercy and the Mayo Clinic and includes non-identifying healthcare information of around 5 million patients across the two.
Mercy is actually contributing more patients than Mayo just because of the large size of Mercy and how long we've had an electronic medical record. So Mercy's electronic medical record goes back to 2008. And so we're contributing the largest amount of data to this platform right now. And
the goal is simple when it comes to the two working together. They hope by being able to share the information, the two systems will be able to help find diseases earlier and start treatments sooner. A spokesperson for the Mayo Clinic said in a statement to KY3 News, the collaboration between Mayo Clinic and Mercy is not about building a huge database. They do not send data to each other. Rather, it's about leaving the data at Mercy and Mayo Clinic so that the de-identified information of the past can help both institutions plan for the care of patients in the future. The cross-platform used with the medical records has been vetted by a third party to ensure information is private.
Going to allow not only just Mercy, but Mayo to do research, to develop AI, to develop products to hopefully detect disease earlier in its course. And then also, rare outcomes that are harder to find when maybe you only have access to your own healthcare system's patient information.
The demographics and geography of the two healthcare systems is expected to improve accuracy and create a more diverse and stronger treatment options for patients.
Officials are monitoring the shoreline following Friday's back-to-back shark attacks in Walton County, Florida, as 2 of the victims remain hospitalized. The Walton County Sheriff's Office shared these pictures on social media and said the Beach Marine Unit spotted a 14-foot hammerhead Saturday morning. However, officials stressed seeing the shark was not uncommon, and it is likely not the shark that attacked the 3 victims. Israel rescuing 4 of its own on Saturday hostages who had been held in Gaza for 8 months. The operation comes as the U.S. is still holding out hope for a breakthrough in negotiations for a ceasefire that could bring the rest of the hostages home as well. Fox News correspondent Stephanie Bennett has the latest.
4 Israeli hostages reunited Saturday with loved ones for the first time in months. Freed from captivity in Gaza after the Israeli military's largest rescue operation since the war began. Their families elated and relieved at their safe return.
I'm so excited that I could hug him today.
Noah Argamani, Almog Mayerjan, Andrei Kozlov, and Shlomi Ziv, evaluated at a hospital in Tel Aviv, all appear to be healthy and unharmed after being held by Hamas for more than 240 days.
Thank you. I feel good. Everything is okay. Now everything is okay. I am very happy.
The operation comes at a heavy cost on the Palestinian side. Heavy explosions and fighting could be heard Saturday in the city of Dar al-Bala. Gaza health officials say nearly 100 people were killed, a baby reportedly among the dead.
My 2 cousins were killed and 2 of my cousins were seriously injured. They did not commit any sin. They were sitting at home.
International pressure is mounting on Israel to limit the civilian bloodshed during its continued occupation of Gaza. Protests also ramping up within Israel, urging Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire agreement. President Biden welcoming the news while continuing to push both sides to accept a deal that will end the war.
We won't stop working until all the hostages come home and a ceasefire is reached.
The U.S. is working with Egypt and Qatar to mediate those negotiations. There are still about 120 people still held hostage. In London, Stephanie Bennett, Fox News.
President Biden thanks French President Emmanuel Macron for France's commitment to Ukraine and urges for continued partnership on global issues. Biden and Macron delivering remarks today regarding their history of cooperation. Both presidents also taking time to acknowledge the 4 hostages that were rescued by the Israeli military this morning. Still ahead, first graders in Arizona are busy buzzing around. We'll have the details.
Well, we've got some severe weather moving into the area. It's not coming in for another couple of hours, so let's go ahead and take a look outside at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. We've got some clouds moving in. Winds are starting to pick up as well, but right now we haven't seen any rain showers. We did have a couple of storms pass by, just clipping our counties, but now moving into the Springfield area. They do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings on them already. We are also in a severe thunderstorm watch. That's until 1 a.m. today. Now the storms that we're really focusing on still just now moving into Kansas, and they have mostly severe thunderstorm warnings on them, but we have seen a tornado warning on a couple of those supercells as well. So we'll keep watching it as it moves into the area. The likelihood that we see any tornadoes is slim, but we still could expect it. We can't rule it out. We've got an elevated risk for severe storms, so that's a level 2 out of 5 risk. And it's basically for all of our counties. Just if you're in the very southern counties down in Bentonville, you might not see as much of a severe threat. But those storms will continue well into the morning tomorrow, and we have a low risk for storms tomorrow as well. Now, what we're really focusing on, hail and wind threat. We've got hail up to $half sized. And then we've got a wind threat up to 60 miles per hour wind gusts, but still a low tornado risk. So we'll keep that in mind. We are less likely to see a tornado, but still can't rule it out. Always got to be weather aware. Now these storms are coming in after midnight. So we see that spike up to about 60% chance after 2 a.m. And that continues well into the morning until about 10 a.m. And then we start to see the chances dwindle down as we get into the afternoon hours. So we are still going to expect some storms lasting pretty long, all the way overnight. So we've got the storms right now out in Springfield. Those are going to shift a little bit more north. And then we've got that line of storms connecting over that cold front. This is going to be right outside of our area. So it's about 1 a.m. Nevada's getting some storms, but other than that, it's going to be right outside of our area. Then it's going to start to shift a little bit more south in the next couple of hours, so 2:33 a.m. we can start to see these line of storms pushing south. They do start to dissipate, but we see one massive supercell popping up, and that's going to be over the Pittsburgh area, and then it'll be shifting into the area. We still are expecting strong storms with all of these supercells that are passing by, but that as we move into the early morning hours, severe threat diminishes and we're just looking at some heavy rainfall. So localized flooding is a threat as well for all of these storms. We've got chance for storms continuing into the morning hours on Sunday, not to mention temperatures drop down to the mid-70s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday after this cold front passes. Got mostly clear day on Monday. Some more rain showers pushing in Monday evening and into Tuesday, although right now we're looking at just showers, not any type of severe threat with any more of the storms in the next 10-day forecast. We've got a lot of sunny skies. Temperatures warm back up to the 80s and then to the 90s as we get into early of the following week. A couple rainy days, but overall it looks like severe threats for severe weather season kind of moving on out of here.
Yeah. Warm though.
Well, that's what happens when you move into the summertime.
Thank you, Lindsay.
You're
Appreciate it. No, it's getting a little hot outside.
Well, it's June.
That's fair. Okay, now you're just making me, whatever, fine. Anyway, Mexico City Zoo helps animals seek relief from the heat with a special treat. The Chapultepec Zoo in Mexico City is helping its lions cool down with frozen meat popsicles, while its monkeys snack on a frozen vegetarian option. Temperatures in the Mexican capital have been around an unusual 86 degrees. Further north of the zoo, another animal park has had to set up air-conditioned rooms for its eagles, owls, and other birds of prey. Coming up in sports, women's basketball star Caitlin Clark is left off the Team USA roster for the Olympics. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws look to stay perfect at home. Brock Baldridge has the highlights from the game up next.
The Joplin Outlaws have been playing baseball for just over the last 2 weeks now. Joplin is currently in second place in the Mid-American League standings. We begin with Game 2 of the series tonight. Joplin plays the Piney Woods Timberhogs on a warm, humid night. To pick things up in the second inning, Cale Good hits this hard just past the shortstop's glove. That allows Owen Bond to come around to score, and the RBI single ties up the game. It's now 1-1. We head to the top of the third inning. Check out this play here by Andres Garcia, who goes down on the knee and delivers a throw to Mize at first base. Great defensive play there, saves a run. So on the mound tonight is Xavier Fossbender, who completes the remainder of the inning with back-to-back strikeouts. He keeps the game tied, headed to the bottom of the third. So in the third, Drake Lee broke his bat the pitch before. He picks up a new one, and then he rips a new one. See you later. That's gone for a 2-run homer, and despite the big lead in the game, Piney Woods comes back to take the lead. Timberhawks, they currently lead Joplin 9-7 at last check. Well, the Kansas State Wildcats playing Game 2 of their Super Regional. K-State lost Game 1 to Virginia last night, so they need to win in order to keep their season alive. K-State put up a great fight the past 2 nights, but the Cats come up just short. Virginia beats Kansas State 10-4. The Wildcats season comes to an end, and the Virginia Cavaliers are on their way to Omaha. They're going to the College World Series. At Kauffman Stadium this afternoon, the Kansas City Royals win the series over the Seattle Mariners by winning this one 8-4. They have now won 3 straight in a row. Kyle Isbell goes for 1 for 2 with the double and 3 RBIs. Royals will go for the sweep tomorrow. And at Busch Stadium, the St. Louis Cardinals are at home against the Colorado Rockies. St. Louis battled back in this game but couldn't score the game-tying run. But good to see Matt Carpenter out there hit a homer over the center field wall. This game, Cardinals dropped this game 6-5. Well, rising women's basketball superstar Caitlin Clark is not expected to be on the United States Olympic women's basketball roster. Team USA leaves for Paris in just over a month from now. Clark was selected as the #1 overall draft pick in the WNBA draft last April, and she currently plays for the WNBA's Indiana Fever. And I've heard the argument for both sides. You know, should Clark have been drafted? She's just a rookie, and there's no other rookies on the team. So that's kind of been the argument on social media. But it definitely would help boost the ratings with the way she's been playing.
Oh my goodness. She's so impressive to watch, and she's done huge things for the WNBA too. So, but I mean, she's got plenty of years left.
She's got plenty of years left.
I'm sure she will be on the team for plenty of years to come, for
and
sure.
the next Olympics will be in the U.S., so
there you go.
Be better. So
home field advantage.
Yep.
There you go.
Take it, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Brock. We'll be right back. First graders in Arizona are learning how busy buzzing being beekeepers. Try and say that 5 times fast. Ashley DiMartino has more.
At Phoenix International Academy, everyone's buzzing about. The school is emphasizing the B in the ABCs with a one-of-a-kind program that was started by first grade teacher Loretta Lankin a few weeks ago.
I saw a need in the community to get students outside, connected with nature.
First graders at the school are working with professional beekeepers and are being trained as tiny beekeepers themselves.
We see that bees, honeybees specifically, are such an important pollinator in our world.
These suited up, pint-sized beekeepers
It feels great how the bees go on us and stuff.
are learning how to care for the bees.
Don't swan at the bees.
What happens if a beehive doesn't have a queen?
They'll go crazy. They'll go crazy. But you wonder what makes them calm? The smoke.
And the important role bees have in our environment.
They collect pollen, collect honey. They grow fruits for us.
Teaching students the science behind what bees do.
They're going to learn environmental stewardship and how to help sustain and protect bees and honeybees.
With 2 hives now in place, the school hopes to harvest honey next spring for their Garden and Honey Festival.
Up next, it's National Best Friends Day. Yes, it actually exists. We all have friends, and whether you grow up with them or they come into your life as an adult, they're always there for you and become like family. And June 8th is Best Friend Day, is the best day to let them know how much they mean to you because it's National Best Friends Day. It's all about celebrating the friendships that are so important to us and help carry us through our lives. So take your bestie out to dinner or write them a note or do whatever you would do with your bestie.
You have a bestie?
It's not you because you were mean to me earlier during the newscast. No, but we've become really good friends since we started working together.
We all have.
Yeah, it's great working with people here.
I've loved working here so far. I've actually met some pretty great friends.
Yeah.
You're
better friends with my wife than you are with me, though.
I am friends with his wife. Best friends now.
Yep. All right. Well, that's our time for tonight. Hug a best friend. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a rainbow over a beach in Florida. From all of us here at KOAM, have a great night.